everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimaloye in Abuja. We begin tonight by giving you some update about President Bola Tinubu's trip. He's out of the country and he's arrived in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, the capital of that country, to participate in the Joint Arab Islamic Summit. The president landed at the King Abdulaziz International Airport at about 10 a.m. local time and was received by the Deputy Governor of the Riyadh region, Prince Mohammed bin Abdulmumin bin Abdulaziz. The summit, held at the invitation of King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, will focus on the current situation in the Middle East. The presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, has earlier said that the meeting is expected to address a number of critical regional issues, with particular emphasis on the ongoing Israel-Palestinian conflict. And if you're one of those who think that there might be some national prayers to be led by the First Lady, Ms. Oluremi Tinubu, well, she said that is not true. She's refuted those claims that she's organizing a national prayer over the country's economic challenges. And the claims were making the rounds on several platforms that the First Lady, in conjunction with others, are planning a prayer session for the country. But Busola Kukoyi, the spokesperson of the First Lady, has described the claims as not only misleading, but also unfounded. Tonight, we shall be having conversations on the state of the nation amidst myriads of controversies on the policies of the Tinubu-led federal government, the economy, the well-being, and the welfare of the average Nigerian. Tonight, I'm being joined by a member of the House of Representatives, chairman of the House Committee on Housing, representing Bebeji Federal Constituency of Kano State, a four-time member of the National Assembly, Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin is live with us here in our studio. Thank you so much, and it's good to see you.
Thank you so much.
It's been quite a while, isn't it?
It's been a while.
You've been under the out of the radar. What is the problem? You've been quiet for a while. What seems to be the issue?
Well, I haven't been off the radar, and I've been around doing my work, and maybe what I used to say, perhaps age. You know, I started quite early, so maybe I'm getting old, and there's a change of approach on how you do things. But I'm around and doing my job as a lawmaker, as a member of the House of Representatives, and of course as a leading member in the opposition in the country.
Yeah, you've been in the APC, the PDP, the NNPP. You probably have sat in the different aisles of the National Assembly.
Absolutely.
And you know what it is actually when you speak as a member of the leading party and a member of the opposition party, and you're not now only a member of the opposition party, but what you will call the third or the fourth leg of the opposition in the National Assembly. How does that feel, though?
Absolutely. Well, it's fine. It's such a enriching experience, as you've mentioned, even though in advanced democracies we tend to align to a particular party in terms of ideology and rest. But again, in this part of the world, I think it's tied a bit with our culture. So sometimes you find somebody going from one party to another for one reason or the other. But when you take the aggregate, for me personally, I think it's been very enriching. It's have been a lovely experience. I have been, of course, in the PDP. I've been in the APC, and of course now in the NNPP. So it's been a wonderful experience.
And I remember, when I was inviting you on the program and talking about asking you to come talk about the state of the nation, you were asking me what else to talk about. I reminded you that you are a chair of the Finance Committee and the Committee on the Appropriations, and I wanted to know what you feel about a position of the North, a position of the members of the National Assembly on the President Tinubu tax reforms. You know, and you were quiet for a moment on the phone.
Of course, you've said we're coming to discuss the state of the nation. But I don't know why all the time you beat me to it, because I didn't know you were going to put me on the spot. In any case, I have never been lacking in courage to be able to say things the way they are. Of course, a bill has been prepared, as you've said, as a former chairman of finance. A lot of the issues that I saw, because I read it.
You've read the bill?
I read the bill. And
therefore,
the
aspects
bills,
to it, right, isn't it?
The bills, yeah. Of course, the income aspect, the administration, the joint the tax, all I've read everything. And a lot of those issues, and I tell people this all the time, were issues that we've promoted in the last 15 years in the National Assembly. As Chair Finance, we pressed so hard for the issue of consolidating collections of our revenue. So this is not an idea of the poor young man as chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue at the moment, who is being portrayed as somebody who is pushing for it. If Nigerians go back to history, they will see these are issues that consistently we've been pushing so that we can be able to get our revenue system, our fiscal policies strengthened, and be able to optimize our revenue collection.
Let me just
just add.
Okay.
What even bothers me a lot is when you see government agencies, and this has happened. It has also happened to me as Chair Finance. When you raise this kind of issue, you're not taking away money from anyone. After all, the money belongs to the country. All we are saying is that let's consolidate this thing, let's streamline it in a way that everybody can be able to see how this money is coming in a more tidier manner. So you find that particularly, notoriously, the NNPC, the Customs Services, DPR and the rest, they will fight to the end of the tunnel to see that this policy does not work because of a lot of things. I don't want to make statements that will make headline by tomorrow, but the reality of the matter is that the leadership of this country, and we are also talking, some of us that with every sense of modesty have experience and knowledge of these things. We've been talking to our colleagues, we've been talking to our leaders, that you cannot lump the entire bill. For in my own, I stake my reputation for beautiful bills that I believe that will change the course of the revenue, income, fiscal issues in Nigeria. As far as those issues are concerned, I believe that these bills will answer a lot of questions that we'll be trying to address.
Just for a moment, let me remind a lot of there is a background to this matter. And don't forget, Bola Tinubu, as a candidate of the APC, was very clear on what he wants to do when it comes to tax reform. So for some people, it may not be new idea, but when it came, one of the first things that the president did was to put together a committee on tax reforms in the country, led by Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, and that committee, the presidential committee, has been working, and they put together their own proposition, which came in form of a bill and sat together with a few people critically. The nation, and on this program, will be analyzing some of these issues. Let me give you a background on how we came to this point. First and foremost, in Kaduna State, the meeting hosted by the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani, had governors of the 19 northern states, as well as traditional rulers. They met, and one of the issues that got their attention was the issue of the tax reforms agenda of the Bola Tinubu administration. This is a summary of what they came out with after their meeting in Kaduna. Take a listen to him.
Governors with dismay the content of the recent tax bill that was forwarded to the National Assembly. The contents of the bill are against the interests of the North and other subnationals, especially the proposed amendment to the distribution of value-added tax to the relation-based model.
The governor of Gombe, who chaired that committee, that meeting in Kaduna State, it was clear. The North, especially the governors and some leaders, were saying they were not comfortable with that those tax reforms, and they want it to be addressed. Now, a few days later, just about 48 or thereabout days afterward, there was a National Economic Council meeting chaired by the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima. And after that meeting, of course, you know, has a wider membership, including governors. And they came also after that meeting to say the federal government should withdraw the bill from the National Assembly. It was the governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde, who spoke on the resolution of NEC at that meeting. Take a listen to him.
The council acknowledged that the country is underperforming on all indices as it regards yields from major revenue sources, also our tax to GDP ratio, and so on. So after extensive deliberation, NEC noted the need for sufficient alignment between and amongst the stakeholders for the proposed reforms. So Council therefore recommend the need to withdraw the bill currently before the National Assembly on tax reforms, so that we can have wider consultations and also build consensus around these reforms for the benefit of the entire country.
All right. That is a position of NEC. But when the presidency responded without interest in withdrawing it, the presidency had said, look, we will want the National Assembly to take a closer look and allow no prejudice to this bill. Let the due process and procedures of lawmaking take its course. We will not withdraw it. That is the position of the Tinubu presidency on this bill. Well, on this program, I've been having conversation, and particularly on China's television, we've seen Honorable Madaki, a deputy minority leader, majority leader, and also Senator Aline Dume, representing Borno State in the National Assembly, was on this program. Let me remind you of what he said. He was categorical. He said it will be shut down. That bill is against the North. That bill does not represent the average and the poor of our country. And this was what Senator Aline Dume said.
The National Economic Council has said that we should withdraw, the president should withdraw the bill. He should do more consultation, and he should carry Nigerians and the public. But if it goes on like that, I can tell you that it will be death on arrival.
Let me remind you, and I'll read out what the presidency, a portion of what the presidency said. He says, President Tinubu believes that the legislative process, which has already begun, provides an opportunity for inputs and necessary changes without withdrawing the bills from the National Assembly. While urging the NEC to allow the process to take its full course, President Tinubu welcomes further consultations and engagement with key stakeholders to address any reservations about the bills while the National Assembly considers them for passage. End of quote. Honorable, why does it look like the North is against the Tinubu's tax agenda?
Well, I don't think the North is against it. If you look at the chains of discussions and the meetings and the rest, I think there's also the crisis of perception. Generally, the president, because of his background, is seen as a tax and revenue active person. So the moment you hear issues like that, even without reading it or going through the details of the bill, everybody will quickly draw a conclusion that the bill is against the North. One thing I only want to say before making the next point is that anytime you engage anybody who is having a conversation on these bills, ask them questions to be sure they've read the bill. Many people who are commenting on it haven't even gone through their details. The North might be, as you are saying, because we've not had referendum to be able to say, oh, the North is against the bill or not against the bill.
So the North is not against the bill.
It's just a matter of...
You are a leader of an NNPP, a party that is very strong in Kano State. I'm going to ask you, Honorable, is it a consensus in the North that this bill should be shut down?
It is not a consensus in the North that this bill should be shut down. And talking for myself, and also how I know the National Assembly operates in terms of following procedures of passage of bills, I can be able to tell you authoritatively that the bill is not dead on arrival. And personally, I've explained to you that hundreds of clauses in these bills are things that we've been pursuing for ages. And I will be able to tell you this, that with the work that we're going to do, thorough work, transparent work, for Nigerians to see all the clauses, the details and everything, I can confidently tell you that the bill will go through the processes in National Assembly and it will be passed. And after the passage of the bills, Nigerians will be able to see and understand that the bill is not inimical to the interests of the country, neither is it inimical to the interests of the northern part of the country. The major issue of concern, particularly to the North, is the VAT. The bill in itself provided for a buffer for that, but I don't even want to go into that particular details. But the point is that there are certain issues in this country that whether we like it or not, we must sit down, discuss, and negotiate because the issues will continue to come up. So I was talking to one or two governors a few days ago, and I was telling them that, don't forget, two state government have already gone to court on this issue of VAT. It will continue to come up. You can just wake up one day, rather than have this situation where it will create a room for us to discuss and negotiate. Remember, even the 13% derivation and everything was negotiation. In the process of the lawmaking, we might even end up losing it entirely. You just go, somebody goes get a court a judgment, and that's all. The Accountant General of the Central Bank is compelled to be able to follow that. So it is better for us when issues become contentious. But let me also say something very important. How can you say the bill is against the poor? This is the first time you're having an instrument where it's going to be a law where it is exempting all salary earners within the range of the minimum wage. Minimum wage. Small businesses, all exempted. Why are we not talking about that? Why are we focusing on the issues that will give an impression that we want to play politics with? But I will tell you this, and it might be a bit of a radical perspective. I like a situation where, because if you ask me, I will tell you this, bit of my knowledge about the economy of this country, that the North is the richest part of Nigeria. The problem is that we are not tapping our potentials. We have the land, we have the population, we have the pool for consumption, we have everything. I would want to see a prosperous North. I would want to see us unleash the potentials of northern Nigeria. So, even though that is not the case, if I have a situation where the North will be placed in a situation where it will look inward and unleash its potential, is good for the country. In any case, this bill is not seeking.
Let me now ask you.
Let me just add one thing. Sorry, Shehu. The governors said something. I think the only reason why it became so much of an issue was because they said withdraw the bill. Slightly a bit harsh. Maybe they would have gone have their own meeting with the president, but the other part of the statement said consultation. Now, in the process of bill passage, first reading, second reading, then it goes to public hearing. The bill will go to public hearing. During the public hearing, the Governors Forum will come and make their presentation. Civil society will come and make their presentation. Everybody will have his own input. And I tell you this, these are the kind of period where you want to see the National Assembly working. You will see robust debate. You will see negotiation. And that is a point where all these matters will be discussed. The contentious aspect in this bill that is being thrown around, two major contentions. One, the VAT issue. Secondly, the streamlining of revenue collection. Now, hundreds of other clauses in the bills. Nobody has issues with it. So you want to just throw away everything? You say it is dead on arrival? It is not dead on arrival. And again, we need to be a bit cautious. You know, a senior member in the National Assembly. Some of us, while we were younger, we also made some of these mistakes. You've signed in to a certain system, and a bill has come, and we should allow the bill to.
Let me first and foremost ask you this. For the benefit of our viewers, those who do not have the benefit of having contact with the bill, being able to study it. I've had several conversations about it, studied the spirit and the letters of that bill, and looking at the departure that it has with the old tax system in Nigeria. The drafters of that bill will tell you that this is going to give us a brand new outlook to our tax system. But let me ask you, since you have read it, can you tell Nigerians what exactly do you think makes some northern leaders uncomfortable?
Well, the impression is that the North will lose in its revenue stream. And what I'm saying is that you don't take that clause in isolation. You take the clause in connection to all other clauses that connect to the entirety of the bill for you to be able to value, draw a value or do a valuation on how much importance that bill is to the northern part of the country. But you see, the most important aspect of it, rather than this front and back, the bill is in the National Assembly. The National Assembly is not guided by the military where you put guns in our heads to talk. It will go through the process. It will come to public hearing. And all of these things will be discussed. And I have also said to you that if there is a fear about losing revenue, you will do a running average. What sort of revenue are you earning? And I have also seen in the bill that there's a provision for a buffer. So you will sit down and have a debate. How much percentage you want to be drawing into that equalization fund to be able to meet the regular target that you used to meet on a normal day. So I actually believe that there's so many good things about the bill. I have had experience in this country. I remember during the 7th Assembly, we did a constitutional amendment, one of the best constitutional amendments for this country, because of one single clause. That constitutional process was headed by the former Deputy Speaker, Emeka Ihedioha. Because of one single clause, it was not passed. The whole thing was thrown away. Millions of naira that was invested, all wasted. But this bill are things that have been studied now in the National Assembly. Members are calm. They're going through the bill. They will read it properly. It will go through the processes, and I believe that at the end of the day, we'll get this bill passed, and every part of the country will be fairly treated.
Because that is a major issue, the derivation principles that are captured by that bill, because there are those who are saying, why collect on behalf of the state? Why not state being able to collect? Because there are those who are arguing and debating the legality of the federal government collecting on behalf of the state, and maybe the capacity of the state also to be able to collect VAT. But the bill is also proposing that, yes, the central government should be the one responsible. We should have one bucket for collection of VAT. Now, there are exemptions clauses in that bill. There are tax levy on companies in that bill. There are issues relating to the exceptions on child product, on some food items, local manufacturers in the country, local companies in the country. But in all of this, the big question is the lot of the average poor, the average Nigerian. And there are those who are of the opinion that this is anti-poor, that you are placing more levy on the poor and burdening the poor the more, and the hardship is increasing. Does that bill give you that sense? And can you clarify that what you have read, does it give you a sense that poor Nigerians will be burdened the more?
Now, you see, this is where the crisis of perception comes in. And I think, Shewun, you shouldn't fall for that, because I've just answered the question you've just asked. But now you've asked it in even a more sophisticated and a more elaborate manner. I just gave you a straight point that This is the first time an instrument of law that will pass through legislative processes, signed by the president, that will exempt minimum wage holders from tax and small businesses. So when you are talking about the poor, who are the poor? Are they not the people that earn the least in the society? Are they not the ones that own small businesses? Are they not the ones? Go and look at the bill. It's explicitly clear. Zero tax.
So why the controversy?
You see,
why the grandstanding? Because when members of the National Assembly say it is dead on arrival, we shoot it down.
There is also yeah. When I look at the financial history of our country or our political economy and the rest, we are always, as a country, we are always afraid of trying something new. We always want to do the same thing and expect to get different result. I would tell you this, I'm not holding brief for him, and I rarely come out to speak like this. It takes a lot of courage for that young man sitting as chair of the Federal Inland Revenue to come up with these bills. It takes a lot of courage. Not until when Ifoke was there. Look at what is happening. Even though people will counter the argument with inflation, look at how the present Federal Inland Revenue has shattered all collections. Look at the multiplicity of money that it's been generated for the country. Even though when you raise this, people will bring the issue of inflation. But again, they're doing their job. You can't take away the fact that something significant is happening there. Why? If you say you want to leave it for everybody to go and collect, one of the reasons why you are seeing these collections that are going and they're beating all targets, breaking all records in the history of this country is because of capacity. It's a specialized agency. It's a specialized kind of work that needs certain skills, that needs certain kind of expertise, and it's being done in the interest of the country. The most important thing, and I'm telling you this show, we have seen it happen in this country severally. I remember, let me give you a very interesting story. Now, these 4 bills are just lying down there. Many people haven't read it. A stigma has been created around the bill with all the good, wonderful clauses that are there and the contentious ones that can be negotiated and passed. But one, perception, fear of trying something new yet again, you want to have a different result. About 13 years ago, a senior member of the government at then were trying to make a projection for crude the sales. And from the angle of the National Assembly, all the various agencies, the International Energy Agency, the Deutsche Bank, the HSBC, all brought out their projections. And it showed that moving from 2012 all the way to 5-10 years, crude will continue to go high. So I don't want to mention his name. And he came, he said, you see, sometimes you cannot predict this thing, despite the fact that you have all the facts. Why don't we try something in this country? Go to Chicago Exchange. Sell your crude in advance. Discount it by maybe 10%. Crude was selling at about $115 and then bring it down to about 100 or 90. Take your money for 10 years. If it goes down, the buyers, they bear it. If it goes up, they bear it. Well, for you, you have certain stuff. I'm just giving you an example to see some of the creativity that would have, but we are afraid to try it. And all of us, when he left, we said, this man is a madman. After all, we have all the facts that crude is not going to go down. We are not going to do it. Just 2 years later, crude crashed to almost $30. So I'm just trying to give you an example where...
Yeah, so look, there are also issues.
Sometimes when we see things like this...
Because the perception about the fact that the Tinubu government is burdening, it keeps electricity tariff, subsidy removal on electricity, subsidy removal on petrol, and it's compounding the burden on the average person. Now, that bill, Honorable, is also suggesting incremental increase in VAT. For example, it's saying that there will be an increase from 7.5% to 10% by 2025. It's also suggesting that there will be a further increase to 12.5% from 2026 to 2029 and 15% by 2030 onwards. These are some issues that a lot of people will say the Tinubu government looks like it is fronting for the Bretton Woods institutions, and it's bringing more burden and more problem for the average poor of our society, considering some of the issues that I just raised, especially in the incremental increase of VAT.
Yeah, I will come to that. But again, because you dropped the issue of the subsidy, and they are all issues that are intertwined. You know, we have to learn how to be honest in this country. You know, when something goes wrong, then everybody run away from it. Majority of us that are now talking, maybe if you will say within the establishment class that are talking today are all pro-subsidy. I was also a pro-subsidy. In our argument, yes, in our argument during the presidential election, during with our presidential campaign candidate, we were those who were really pro-subsidy. He as a person, yes, he as a person isn't a pro-subsidy remover. But every other person you can see, many of them, 99% of the people I hear talking today, were all pro-subsidy removal. But I think what we do not have the courage to accept, which I do accept, even in private, I've had that conversation with people, was just the simple fact that we all underestimated the impact of removal of subsidy. So it is better for somebody to come and say, yes, I was a pro-subsidy or I am a pro-subsidy, but I actually never expected or never thought the impact will be this much. So the president wasn't alone. I didn't even want to call the name of the president in this interview. He wasn't alone in being pro-subsidy. The only thing is that nobody was as educated as we are, as knowledgeable as we are, nobody was able to project that the consequences will be this severe.
And people will think
so
the error was not creating a buffer.
So he's found himself
if
in this
that person
situation.
who made that kind of decision,
now I'm not going to
proposing another thing, shouldn't Nigerians have their fears?
No. The proposal is based on the size, the growth of the economy. Now I tell you something. If I had built a house 20 years ago, how much was I renting it out? A standard 4-bedroom duplex in Abuja. How much was it being paid for? Maybe some 200,000, 300,000 in prime area. Today, how much is it being paid for? So 25 million naira. So it's a simple economics. The more the economy widens, the more you earn. So again, pro rata, you will be able, they will be able to charge you more. So, and that projection is not being done based on the fact that they are thinking that the economy will be stagnant. Now, if you look at the wider analysis, it means that the economy will blossom, there will be more money, there will be more earning and the rest. And since all the mechanisms that we put in place for earnings to be more will be in place, they say, no, okay, it means that we'll be able to collect more. But tying it to the poor is false because the entire process exonerates the poor from...
all right, let's take our first break, Honorable. We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, we'll go on the specifics on the position of Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin on specific areas of the state of the nation under President Bola Tinubu. He is of the NNPP, and they have their position when they stand up in the National Assembly to oppose the policies of the APC government. We'll be talking about that and more. In fact, on the Kano politics, Robbie Kwankwanso, the issue in the NNPP, and the way forward. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Join us again. Staying with us, Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin is a House Committee Chair on Housing, a former Chair on Finance and Appropriations, a 4-term member of the House of Representatives. Interestingly, the issue of tax reform bills get our attention. Thank you so much indeed for your time. That tax bill, there are four in, there are different, four of them. One, the Nigeria Tax Bill, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Tax Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. There are those who believe that the governors, some of them think that the distribution issue, the derivation issue is critical. And you know the governor as a bloc. How would they be convinced? Because when they talk to their National Assembly members, the fear is that this might not go through in the National Assembly, when some of your members are already saying they will shoot it down.
Okay, fantastic. You know, I have said it in my previous comments here. I don't want us to sensationalize it and make it look as if, even as an individual or as a body of National Assembly, we will go into a collision with the governors. The governors are stakeholders. There's absolutely nothing wrong in what they've done. And as I have said, the bill will go through public hearing, and that will also provide an avenue for everybody. That is what the law says, for everybody that has an issue with the bill to come and give. And that will also provide the National Assembly with the necessary ingredients for us to be able to make informed
Can Nigerians believe when the Tinubu government says this will protect the poor, there will be more money to spend, and that is the reason why they are going after? And also the change of name. Can the Nigerian person, how do you convince them that these bills mean good for the average poor?
It is not only about, it's a bit of a shift of narrative to say it is only about saying there is more money to spend.
Will there be more money in the
Yes, of course there will be more money. But again, I said this thing because the president is seen as a revenue person from his background. So there's that perception. The moment you talk, they'll say more money, more money. It's not only about more money. It's laying a foundation for economic prosperity. That is the best way to look at these bills. And I keep saying this, Sheung, because I've been in that situation as a young lawmaker and saddled with the Committee of Finance. I know so many creative, bold, courageous ideas that we brought up and and it didn't see the light of the day. So I can connect with these things. I took these the bills page to page. I read everything. And I told you, one of the earliest comments I made here, I said, look, a lot of the clauses in this bill were things that we promoted for ages in the National Assembly. And that is why I said to you, categorically, I have no any doubt that this bill will go through and it will be fair to everyone and it will be fair to everyone.
Let me ask you, what is your thinking and view about the state of the economy under this government, considering that most of the indices in the economy are in the negative? People are suffering. There's a lot of poverty in the land. There's a lot of hardship in the land.
Yes. And now you can draw that from two key issues. One, the subsidy removal, and of course, the exchange rate policy. These are two major issues. But again, you cannot take that away from what I have discussed about subsidy. And I said a lot of us actually believe that subsidy will solve the problem. It will come with pains, but minimal pains. But we never, and everybody can make mistake in this world. We never actually thought that. Let me answer this
like a mistake gone too far.
Please, let me make this. We never thought it can be this drastic. Now, it is a matter of decision. And I will not make a decision for the president. If you are asking me now, if I am Abdulmumin, what will I have done? With the benefit of hindsight, I would have rather deal decisively and clean up the subsidy regime. Because subsidy itself, it is not that it's bad. What made it look bad in Nigeria was because the process was thoroughly abused. And I can tell you off the head, because I have an idea of what is going on in the system. The total bill of the last year when the president was taking over of about 7 to 8 trillion. If you ask me to make an off-the-head estimate, I will tell you that the subsidy bill should be around 2 trillion, 2.5 trillion. That means about 5 trillion is being stolen. So, but again, we were thinking that the easiest way, rather than go through the cartel, fight them and everything, the best thing is that remove the subsidy. There's going to be some kind of hardship, and after a while, but again, it turns out to be very, very severe. So I'm not the president, but I also understand that the political economy approach that he is adopting is that, look, let's go through this pain. Let's go through it. And of course, nobody is doubting the fact that you will get to a point where we'll get an equilibrium. But everybody admit, including myself, that how much pain can we tolerate between now and when we
our
get
pain
to
threshold is.
But you need to also understand we're all in it. A lot of people, and I said to you, 99% of people who try to make a headline out of the subsidy issue, the hardship address, everybody believed in subsidy. We all believe that it is going to solve the problem. The issue is that we must all admit that we underestimated what the impact
Let me take you a bit
will be. So again, the government need to focus very much on seeing what sort of initiatives are going to come up to be able to ameliorate the situation for people.
Let me take a bit to politics. I understand that the storm is gathering, and I'm hearing that there's some plan for coalition. Is your party part of the coalition? And what is this coalition actually, this political coalition? Is the NNPP part of it? Are you part of it?
One last 5 seconds before I conclude on that issue. I know that the ruling party has the Senate president, they have the speaker in the National Assembly, they have the majority in both chambers, and I look forward to seeing an interesting and robust debate in the National Assembly. And I don't want to talk for the National Assembly, I'm talking for myself. And I know if I go by history, I believe that we will get this bill passed, and Nigeria and every region that constitutes the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be happy for it. Now, talking about the politics, forming coalition, we've always known our position. We've always made our position known as NNPP. We've been open right from day one, right from when the election was concluded and the president won the election. We've always maintained a position, and we've never changed, that we are ready for discussion with anybody who wants to discuss with us. Of course, you know, in the early days of the administration,
including
a
Peter
lot of
Obi.
efforts, including Peter Obi.
But your principal
Look,
said that it cannot be
even the APC that is seen to have lost so much goodwill and the rest. We are ready to discuss APC. If APC want to work with us, we'll work with the APC. If PDP want to work with us, we'll work with them. That is our position, and it's never changed. And a lot of efforts were made. I can say that because I've been in the center of a lot of effort that were made to see that we perhaps work with one of these the group, particularly when the government came on board. And the idea of government of national unity was being, because I also believe, of course, you know, I'm also a supporter of the president. So I told them, even at that initial stage, if you look at the figures, the election figure, that is why you see there's so much pressure. Why Buhari was able to sustain, despite also making a couple of mistakes, was because if you look at the margin of support that he had. So you have to have that large support base of people that are willing to be patient with you as you implement your policy. But if you look at the president won with about 30%. So at that point I knew, and we're having conversation, everyone, including the president, I told him that what you need to do now is to expand your base so that you can have enough support base of people who are willing to be patient with you as you implement your policy. So several attempts were made, but it didn't go through. The position as of today is that NNPP as a party under the leadership of Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is open for discussion with everyone. And I tell you this, whoever we have understanding with and we decide to work with, it will be very, very consequential.
So you said the leadership of Robbie Kwankwaso. Is Robbie Kwankwaso still a leader of the NNPP? Is he in fact still in the NNPP? Because he's been, I mean, there are reports that he has been sacked from the party. Who is the leader of the NNPP?
Well, Kwankwaso is the leader of the NNPP. I'm pretty sure, maybe I'll make things easy for you. I know why you're saying this, maybe because you hear a group saying there's a faction and the rest. There's no faction in NNPP. You know, the instance I'm going to give you, the situation happening today in NNPP, is like somebody from CPC or ACN, or the then ACN or CPC, to wake up today from sleep and decide to take APC to court. Talking about he has created a faction. It is his party, and that's what is going on. We're two different parties. Their logo is still a basket of fruits. Our logo is the educational turban and the rest. We've gone, they are not taking us, it is not us they are taking to court.
But I mean, there are
themselves to court.
There are issues that Kwankwaso has come to hijack the party. The Igbo man who registered the party, who says that he is the original owner of the party and the founder of the party, that some of you who came into the party came to hijack the party. Why does it look like you came into the party to hijack it?
Political party is not like a property, like a house where you pay money and own. So you need to go and read the law and see. No any individual own a political party. You can own a political party. But
there's someone who founded
it. He founded the party. Of course, party was registered for 20 years. The party was dormant, docile, never won any election. Nobody even knew it. I'm pretty sure you also never know anything about NNPP until the Kwankwaso took over the party. 6 months to election. Won the largest state in northern Nigeria, the second largest in the country. Won 19 House of Representatives seats. Won 2 the Senate seat and missed the last one by a whisker. Build a network all across, propelled by the Kwankwasia movement. So the lifeline of NNPP is the Kwankwasia movement.
But the question is that, I mean, it does look like Kwankwaso is falling out with the governor of Kano State. How are you guys fixing that problem?
Well, it is just public hatrix and the rest. Of course, a few days ago, you would have seen, and the governor has come up to make clarification about the whole of that. There is no way that the governor will fight Kwankwaso. He will not do that.
He still remains his political godfather.
This is his son. God made him the governor. Kwankwaso made him the governor. And the governor is a good man. Abba is a good man. He will not do that. But you know, sometimes when you have people who are trying to create problem come along, you play along with them to know what their intention is. And by the time he finish, he throws them away. But I can assure you, this is somebody who was picked by Kwankwaso because of who is Kwankwaso. You see, the reality is that many people do not know how we are constituted. In Kwankwasia, as a movement, it's a family. You have the administrative wing, you have the political the wing, you have the ulamas wing, you have the volunteers wing and everything. And Abba did not even come from the political wing. He came from the administrative wing because he was working as a personal assistant to Kwankwaso. Then he became his principal private secretary. Then he became commissioner within 2 years. And he made him...
We're totally out of time.
So I needed to just conclude on this, that there's never going to be any problem between them.
Honorable Abdulmumin Jibrin, member of the House of Representatives and the chair of the House Committee on Housing, representing BBG Federal Constituency from Kano State, and member of the NNPP. Thanks so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimale. God bless Nigeria.